And we're here at the Brother Side Podcast. I'm Alex.
I'm Justin.
And we got Karissa Williams with 365 Daily Hustle. What's up, girl?
What's up? It's good to be here.
Thanks for coming on. Karissa, we're going to start off by talking about your background. So
we like to get to know our guests a little before we get into the nitty gritty.
Right.
You could have ran a police report. And
Yeah.
you would have been okay. We could have saved a whole 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Arrested.
we might have to get into the police report.
Public
That
decency.
exists. I like that.
So you got kids.
I do. I have 2 kids. My son's 19.
Ooh,
Okay.
And
tough age.
he's out of the house. I don't even
Okay.
see him. So he's my easy one now. And my daughter's 13. She's
Just getting to be.
Just getting primed up.
She is a doll, but yeah, I'm now starting to, she went from like my sporty girl to like, I think I want to try wearing a dress and then maybe, some makeup. I'm like, oh gosh, here it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
it's
is,
happening.
This is what's happening in my life, so.
And you're Puerto Rican, so does she have a
Yes.
little bit of that flavor in her?
Just a little bit.
Okay, just a
little bit.
sprinkle?
Yeah.
I view like Puerto Rican as having some sass.
We're a little spicy.
A little spicy.
We're like
Yeah.
a good spicy Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good, so.
And you just got engaged.
I did.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Holla.
Yes, yeah.
Is that a bum, bum, bum?
Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do that one. But.
So how long you been together?
Close to 2 years.
Okay.
We met here in Nebraska. He's military, active duty, and then he got transferred to New Mexico.
Okay.
So he's stationed there now full time. So for the last year, I've been hopping flights back and forth and driving
nice.
back and forth to keep.
How do
that
you guys
relationship.
manage that? That's a lot.
There's a lot of FaceTime.
Yeah.
A lot of screen time. Never have I once ever seen like your screen time is down when he's on like TDY or something. Like, yes, it's down by 50%. So yeah, a little bit more Tylenol for the headaches. The screen time, my eye time is real, but I feel like if it's there, he's my soulmate and teammate, and I'm like, I owe it to myself to keep fostering that relationship. So we made it through the COVID. I'm like, if we can do anything long distance, like, I'm not worried about anything now.
You're dedicated. I told my wife if she lived in Bellevue, we live in Elkhorn.
Okay.
20 minutes, I wouldn't date her. And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't want to
20
drive.
minutes.
I don't want to drive
20
that far."
minutes.
Yeah.
That's a
There
lot
and
of
back.
time.
I'm not gonna do it.
It's too much road time.
I'm actually pretty serious about that.
Yeah. I hate driving, so
Yeah.
it shows my dedication. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I fly 800 miles to see you, baby.
How often do
Wow.
you guys commute or like make that
I
flight?
go a lot. Obviously, he's active duty. He can't always get out. So I go down there maybe twice a month.
Wow.
Yeah, he's currently in Florida, so that's where he popped the question on the beach.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
Very
he's there
awesome
for
pictures,
some.
by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, totally unexpected. And because I fly wherever he is, if he's in Colorado, I'll go and visit him. I love traveling. It's a passion. And so I was like, why not? Like, heck yeah, I love Florida. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, I didn't think
absolutely.
anything of it. And he's
Yeah.
like, and I was like, well, Sarah would have to go. My daughter, she goes everywhere with me. And he's like, yeah, no problem. Like, they're besties. They roast each other all the time. I don't quite get, I'm like, that would be hurtful.
Yeah.
That's hurtful.
Wow.
They're like, Mom, we're joking. I'm like, okay. But they have a great relationship. I couldn't ask for anything more. But yeah, she was more upset that she wasn't like right there. She was like, we are bros. Why didn't you get me involved with this?
Right.
Like some
Was she
things
filming?
can be
she
between
wanted,
us.
like, I think
She
she had
didn't
this
film it?
idea because
Oh.
he asked her for my hand,
That's
and then yeah, like 2 blocks into walking on the beach at night, and she's like looking, she's like, "Are you proposing?" Because she saw him go down. She was not.
Oh, man.
She couldn't be a part of that a little bit. I think I was like, oh.
So completely caught off guard by the whole thing.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Just walking along the beach and just dropped on
Man.
one knee sort
yeah,
of thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy. Like, we went to dinner, and I'm like, oh, okay, something feels a little weird because he's nervous. I think guys
He-
just get nervous.
he
That's
felt-
a nervous thing.
It felt off somehow.
Yeah, I was like, this feels kind of pushy. Like,
Uh-huh.
like, here, baby, have another drink. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? That's so weird. Of course I'm gonna have another.
Loosen
things
up.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I just, and he's, he's very loose and funny anyway. So something a little bit off, but. I was like, I guess it's not going to happen tonight. It didn't
Yeah,
happen at dinner.
right.
And I was like, I have been in Florida for 7 hours and haven't been to the beach yet. I was like, we got to get to the beach. I don't care if it's a night stroll or whatever. And so I don't know if it was planned for that night or dinner or breakfast, but he was like, screw it, let's do it.
You just got to get it done.
Yeah.
I remember when I did it, I was so nervous. And I'm like, I've been with her for 3 years. Why am I so nervous? But I got cotton mouth and we're at dinner. And all I could think about is, how am I going to do this? When am I going to do this? And then I just finally broke and did it. you know?
For some reason, that ring in your pocket is like a lead ball. I mean, it's just so heavy. You just can't. You're just trying to get to that moment. Yeah, I was the same way. It was hard to like, okay, I know I'm going to do it tonight. Just when is it going to be right? You know,
it's more the concept of forever. Right?
Yeah.
Wait, am I really doing this
Yeah.
forever?
Oh my God.
No, just kidding.
You're in it forever?
As you
No.
can tell, my wife probably hates me listening to the
She does.
podcast.
She does.
I won't travel for, and forever was a question mark. So let's cut into the 365 daily hustle.
What
Tell
do
us
I
about that.
know?
You're a grinder. You're
I
hustling.
am.
You're
I'm
a
the
boss
ultimate
babe.
hustler. Well, I think first I just want to say, like, a lot of people think the word hustle, right? And they think the grind, the putting in the hours, putting in the work. And yes, you have to have that in order to change. But I think what I've learned over the years is, like, you have to hustle and you have to learn to, like, enjoy that process and find that balance in between it. So I like to say I'm like that ultimate hustler, but I'm the biggest self-care, like, relaxing junkie there is, because if I'm not at my best, like, if I was just constantly working, which I could, like, I think
Sure.
that's just in my DNA. But what I realized with my first marriage is that doesn't work.
Okay.
I failed, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, when I put my career first and I just took advantage of, like, oh, he'll be there and the kids will be there.
Yeah.
And you just put these goals ahead of your bigger priorities, thinking that they'll always be there. And then we just grew apart. And then my career was more important. And that was just way, so I like to, like, debunk the whole hustle, because you have to really, I think, step back and just enjoy the process. And
Because you're in a corporate background, correct?
yeah,
to
a little
what
bit,
you're
like
doing now?
entrepreneurship, corporate, and then back to entrepreneurship.
What was the entrepreneur thing before?
Kind of funny. I'm a health coach, right? But
Yeah.
I owned a cigar and suit shop.
Oh, okay.
So
That sounds awesome.
in Bellevue, yeah, it was called Suit Up, Tuxedos, and More.
Okay.
When I was stationed in Germany, I picked up cigar smoking, and hence my beautiful low voice, probably now.
There you guys.
Yeah, what up, boys? And I actually started the very first Sarpy County Cigar Club because it was like we didn't have a cigar bar in the area, and I was tired of driving all the way to Havana all the time. So I was like, you know what, screw it. Like, we found jerseys in Papillion. We made a little club out of it, but no. So I grew up in the small business arena. You know, my parents were hardworking. I never saw them a lot. I was always taking care of my younger brothers and sisters, sister, I should say, but. So I saw them work, and I think that that's where that hustle comes from, right? That you work hard and anything's possible. It's what my mom taught me. And so when I lost my mom, and we happened to move back at Germany at the exact same time, I lost her to cancer, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I was going to go into the family business. This is crazy. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? It's all I know is weddings, tuxes, weddings, guys, girls, brides, everything. And I looked at the list of wedding, and I'm like, okay, girls are kind of bitchy, and I don't really want to work with them.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to work with guys. Guys are easy. That's all right to say, but
yeah.
They come in with a swatch. They're like, I need to match this, and I need to look good. I'm like, easy, right? Let's get you done and get you measured. So I did that. I owned my own business for about 2.5 years, finally starting to hit a profit, got my employees going. I was like, this is good. Life's good, right? Yeah. And then off it came along, my corporate job. And it was kind of funny. We were sitting at a table similar to this in my shop, and the marketing gal was there, and I'd known her before from doing some chamber work. And she was telling me all these qualifications. She's like, I'm moving, we have to go. And she was military, and I was like, gosh, I don't know anyone who fits that bill, right? Like, I don't know a go-getting girl who's like this, and this, who's tied to military. And I was like, I don't know anyone like that. She's like, we are here for you. Like, are you kidding me? And I was like, well, I have a business. Like, we're in my business. How did you come to me for this? And she's like, well, you got what we can't teach. So we're gonna get you. And I was like, oh, okay.
Really?
So 2 weeks later, I always sit with something for a little bit. And if it's just exciting and if the opportunity's there, I was like, I can learn. Like, there's so much more I need to learn anyways about business. So I ended up 6 months later selling the tuck shop to go work for marketing and HR for a local body shop here in town.
Really? Mm-hmm. And what were your daily functions in this position?
So it started out, the first 4 years were all marketing. So social media, all the way from, the gal before me had just kind of brought the body shop from like old school advertising to like website, right? Like that was kind of that time. Like, hey,
Yeah.
we have a website and we have a Facebook page. So it was really business development, social media marketing, PR, anything that had to do with marketing. That was it. It was a one-man show. And then about 4 years into that career, they wanted someone, we had some leadership changeover, and they needed someone to get fired. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do like,
I got this.
I could do it.
Yeah.
He goes, you're the only one with lady balls, and I need you to do it. And I'm like, this is a shop full of 26 guys,
Yeah,
might I do?
right.
And I'm like, I can do this, but that's not my job, right? So
Yeah.
let me think about if I want to take on HR. And that didn't no brainer. I was like, well, I want double the salary. I want this. I want that. And I'll do it. And he's
Yeah.
like, okay. So
Done.
play big,
Make-
right?
yeah,
Like
make that
you
money.
play the big
Yeah. So then you just
Make some
started
demands.
firing left and right, huh?
Yeah. No, I actually.
You're outta here.
The best part, right, is that and I think HR, we have that bad rep of like, ooh, it's HR. Like Karissa's
Yeah.
calling.
Yeah.
I don't
Here's
want to
the
go.
box.
She's
What
yeah.
does she want?
Yes, yeah. Oh my God, so you start sweating bullets. No, I created just this culture of like, you come to me with problems, right? You're gonna come. I want to help you figure out solutions. You don't just get to come to complain. I always had that sign. I was like, you got to come with a solution. If you don't have one, come back.
Yeah.
I'll help you get there, but you can't just use this time to like, I'm too busy, right? And so we started building this culture where it was just like a split company, split organization within teams, back into kind of uniting as one, and they loved it. They were like, you're like our mentor in here, and you help us
Really?
get healthy, and
That's
like all these
awesome.
things. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, body shop guys are not very healthy.
No.
You know what I
I
mean?
don't
A lot of
picture
pop,
them.
a lot of chew.
I picture a lot of like plumber's crack and like big cuts.
Big
They were
guts
in
and
shape.
chew.
My guys were in shape,
Yeah.
but it was like the run to Taco Bell at every
Oh, yeah.
break.
Yeah.
You know, it was like
Gas
on
station
Fridays.
stops.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
we have fun. We celebrated our wins. We'd have beer on Fridays and McMuffins on paydays. I mean, it just wasn't a healthy culture, and I wanted to really kind of bring that. So I was like, okay, if I can get these guys happy, healthy, and really productive, they're gonna make all of us more money.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I took it.
I thought you were gonna say instead of productive, laid. Happy, healthy, and laid.
Who is
Production's going
Maybe
way up.
all those things go along with that.
It
too.
does.
right.
It does.
Yeah.
Happy, yeah. If you're happy at home, you're
Exactly.
happy everywhere.
Yeah.
So then you had a good career there, and then you pieced out.
I loved it there. It's one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make, actually.
What led you to that decision to say, I'm done?
Yeah. Sounds like it was.
It was
match made in heaven.
perfect.
Yeah.
I loved it. I mean, I really did. I can't tell you there was bad times. A lot of women that I work with, they're like, oh, corporate, they're slave driving and can't get up in the business. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't have that experience. I really was backed by a company who loved and supported me 100%. It was probably around year 4 or 5. I don't know if I've ever shared it, but I used to weigh 213 pounds.
Ooh.
And yeah, hefty. I was a hefty girl, and I'm 5 foot, y'all.
You
Like,
you probably could have
Picture
reacted
this
to
right
that
now.
differently.
I could have, but damn. No.
Oh boy,
I hope
that
there's
is a lot of weight.
poofy. That's a big one.
Yeah.
No, so 5 foot, 213, 10 years ago. I changed my life, changed my habits, and I when we got back from Germany, I wanted to keep that going. I had lost 40 pounds there, and I wanted to keep it going. And so, all while working this awesome job, I was getting involved in the gyms. One specifically that I loved a lot, and I just started meeting with people on the side. I was like, yeah, I'll meet you at Panera Bread, and sure enough, I had like 3 or 4 girls at Panera Bread, and I literally was just talking to them about like food prepping, exercise, stress, like sleep, like their sex life, their relationship. It was everything, and it was just fun. But as my job at the collision center, I was like, nobody wants to talk collision. Like that's a drag conversation. It's like insurance.
Wrecked
It's
my
right
car
there.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks. And so instead I would go into all my networking meetings with how can I help you? Like what are you struggling with personally?
Yeah.
Right? Because if I can help you succeed personally, you're going to always remember to bring your card out,
Sure.
at the body shop.
Yeah.
So
Relationships.
yeah, I'm a schmoozer, professional schmoozer.
Yeah.
Should have been on my card. So the community was watching the weight go down, watching the confidence go up. Local, women were like, Karissa, you're actually really good at this. I was like, this is my side hustle. It's my passion, And it wasn't until someone on Facebook was looking for a health coach. She said, looking for a health coach. And 3 or 4 people in the area tagged my name. And at first I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Like they think
They
I'm a
thought
health
of me.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. And then I went to Google. I'm like, what is a health coach? Like,
Yeah.
I have
What
no
is
idea
this?
what this is. I really
Explain it,
did.
Google.
Yeah. And so like I read it and I was like, oh my God, I could be making a living and providing for my family and working my hours and still helping people. Like that's unheard of. Like I've never
Right.
heard of this.
Yeah.
This weird concoction. And so I just looked into it and more into it. And then I ended up reaching out to Tiger. I said, listen, I know you're looking for someone certified. I said, but I've got real life experience. I know what it takes to lose 90 pounds. And I'm willing to bring you along at a Panera Bread every day and just help, help you.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do women meet anywhere else other than Panera?
Over a bread bowl.
Yeah.
Yes,
Bread
over
bowl.
a bread bowl.
Yeah,
and
you're
broccoli
talking
cheddar
health
soup.
over,
bread bowl.
yeah, broccoli cheddar soup bread bowl. Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh, no. No, and it's funny, like they wouldn't even want a bagel when they were sitting with me. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we're on a
Water.
health kick here.
I know.
Why are we at Panera?
Yeah.
All the carbs galore. No, so that's how it started. Like the love grew from it with like side passion, and then I got my certifications. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make this change. It's going to happen. It was the 5-year plan that turned into a 2-year plan. And when you find what you're supposed to be doing in life, like this is my purpose, speaking and coaching and helping babes boss up, like it's the best. That's the best
Yeah,
thing ever.
absolutely.
And so you can't stop that ball that just keeps rolling. And I mean, I remember when the owner, he said, Karissa, how long am I going to have you? Because I actually tried to get off it to pay for all my certifications. I was like, well, see, if I'm a better coach, then I can coach the guys. Like I was trying to spin it and I'm like,
Well, that makes sense.
It makes 100% sense.
You can definitely
Yeah.
tie it into your current job.
I was like, HR training, mentoring. I was like, yes, I can do this.
Yeah.
We can get a grant to pay for it. I'll even write it. Like,
Right.
it was amazing. And he was like, I don't think so. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do it anyways. I was just worth a shot. But it just grew. And then, it was I think it was November on a coaching call with my own coach. She said, why are you still slaving away, right? 2 full-time jobs, a family, kids, you're like on a board of everything. And you're still trying to like help women on the side. She's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I just want to help, women feel as good as I do.
Right.
Like there's no, like I'm unstoppable. My mindset is shifted. And I'm like, I want to get women to that. And she's like, sounds like you kind of know what you know how to do. And I was like, I did. And then I remember the day I went into the women's locker room and my favorite tool, Mel Robbins, she's one of my favorite authors.
She's a good speaker.
Yeah. She has that book, The 5-Second Rule.
Yeah.
And earlier when we were talking, you're like, just do it, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, just count down from 5 and do it. Like I wanted to say that.
Right.
I use that tool every day, but I went into that locker room and I was like, Karissa, I gave myself a pep talk in the mirror. I was like, you're going to do this. You're going to do this.
Yeah.
You're going to do this, right? And then I counted down from 5. I walked in and he said he knew before I even had to say a word that I was just, that I was going to give him like the bomb
Yeah.
just to live.
I'm out of here. Deuces. Yeah.
And then it finally took me like a month, but I did leave.
That's awesome. So how long did it take you to grow your business? Like how did it start? Where are you at today with it? As far as clients, or I don't know how you measure it.
I have been blessed. I feel like when you walk the walk, it's pretty easy. I've got the marketing, I think, skills behind that. I think that definitely helped me versus a lot of coaches. A lot of coaches get into the industry and they're like, I was a teacher, I was, a hairdresser or something, and they just they feel called to do something else, but they don't have some of those business skills behind it.
Right.
And so, let's see. I probably started with, I remember like 3 or 4 paid clients.
Was it the gaggle of ladies at Panera? That
No.
Gaggle.
The gaggle.
The gaggle.
The gaggle. The
Us ladies,
gaggle.
we gaggle.
Yeah.
I just picture all yucking
No,
up
it
and-
wasn't. I mean, I think I got maybe 2 of those females to come along. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, it's when you're good at what you do, like the word spreads. And they're like, hey, if you want to do X, go work with her. And that's just how it started. I've never spent a lot of advertising up until this year. It's always been word of
gotta be
mouth.
word of mouth,
It
yeah.
is. And a coach is very personal, right? Like I'm going to
Sure.
know the ins and outs, the dirties, everything about your life.
Yeah.
And people get real and vulnerable. So you have to find a coach that is real with you. I'm always like, I'm not going to jam with everyone. I'm definitely not everyone's cup of tea.
Right.
Because some people want the softer coach, and that ain't me.
That's not you.
No.
It's because
No.
you're Puerto Rican.
Maybe.
First
We're
of
going
all,
to talk about that.
I'm
all
a
right?
Puerto Rican coach. Let's start
Yeah.
there. Okay, I'm
Oh,
out.
I don't
I'm
think I
out.
can handle this. I'm out.
A little too spicy.
Yeah. So
No.
what kind of certifications did you need then? Like, because you said
You don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, you absolutely don't. I actually coach women. If it's kind of funny how your niche rolls into, like I feel like I work with a lot of entrepreneurs now where when I started, it was just like people trying to get healthy or trying to get their life back on track. I work with a lot of like, hey, I've got a business, very similar to where I'm at now, right? I got a business and how do I balance it all? But for me, that's important. I have a lot of old beliefs of like, you're not worth anything. You're not, valuable. So for me, I felt like I needed to have it. Like the confidence that going through my certifications gave me, I felt that fully prepared me to what I was doing.
Sure.
So it was about 7 months of health coaching and advanced nutrition courses. And then came the life, because as I know, you're like, okay, health isn't just about a number on the scale. It's not about a fancy treadmill or clean eating. It's about the minds. Yeah. Oh my God. I get a lot of clients like, I bought a $2,700 Peloton and it doesn't work. I'm like,
you have to
tool.
get on.
You have to write
You
it.
actually have to use it.
Yes. I'm like, that's a tool.
Yeah.
Food is, everything's a tool. You have to use it. You have to make it a habit. So life or health, and then life, and then the HMBA mastery level came along. So I was like, it's a lot of mindset work. It's a lot of, let's just reconnect some of the old beliefs that we have. And I've loved it. And I'm a junkie, like when it comes to knowledge. So every year I'm like, what do I want to learn about this year? Like, how can it improve? Like a lot of this year is like a lot of gut health stuff. Because so many people got autoimmune diseases.
What? I caught a glance at your gut.
You have an autoimmune disease now? Let's talk about this.
No, gut health.
Seriously.
One of the guys I worked with talked a lot about gut health. So it just made me.
Well, your gut's like the second brain. And when your gut's off, you're not even thinking clearly. Affects your mood, affects everything.
How do you measure your gut health?
Oof, that's a good
That's a
question.
loaded question.
Like literally loaded. Are you going to the bathroom? Are you going to the bathroom? The consistency of everything.
Yeah.
And mood swings, but women, maybe men, tell me if I'm wrong, but women want quick fixes. They're like, okay, cool. I want to lose 10 pounds in a month because I got a cruise I'm going on. I'm like, okay, what's your plan, right?
Yeah.
Because the expectations are so high for a lot of women, but that's one of the first questions. I'm like, how's your gut? Are you going to the bathroom every day? How's your mood swings? Because they're like, help me burn fat. And I'm like, okay, well, if your levels of stress are out the door and you're not going to the bathroom and you're not taking care of your body,
right.
You're never going to lose a pound. Mm-hmm. Like people are like, I've tried everything. I'm like,
it's all encompassing. It really is.
It really is.
Yeah. Yep.
Mind, body, spirit.
I feel like I'm on a plateau right now.
All right.
Like physically?
No, I just can't
Kinda
break.
maxed out?
I can't break 200.
Like losing weight?
Yeah, I'd like to get to a more trim 190.
Okay.
But we can talk about that
Yeah,
offline.
Alex.
Yeah.
We get into Alex's weight loss goals later.
Yeah, well, you know me. I'm like, let's talk about this.
What are the biggest struggles with women that when they come to you? Do they want to be secretive about it, or are they just like, I really need to make a change?
Mm-hmm.
What's the stance?
No, I think women are pretty open. I think
Yeah.
that's the difference. I used to coach a lot of men, and women are like, help me, right? We have no problem saying, help me get to where I want to go.
I feel like women are just willing to be more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Guys kind of have that shell. And it's hard
Ego.
And ego.
Yeah,
It's hard
I love
to.
ego. I love breaking egos.
Yeah.
So you don't coach men at all anymore?
I have a few male clients.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't market to males, and I think my attitude, and I mean, you have to think, right? Tuxedos, collision. Like, I just got that, like, let's go smoke a cigar and drink some whiskey, like at the bar, and get to know each other. Over something else. But I think I just relate to men. We have the similar, like, go-getting attitude. So I think that it's actually hard to find women who, that are just as driven. I think it's harder to find women who are very similar to me than men. But biggest struggle, I think men and women alike, is the excuses that they make.
Oh man.
I'm like, blah, blah, blah.
Can you say what's the worst excuse?
Number one, I ain't got enough time.
Yeah.
Alex, I just don't have enough time in my day. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's the number one excuse. And it's so true. But I'm like, we all have the same amount of time, so how am I doing it and you can't?
Right.
So I mean.
Is that what you say? Kind of throw it
Oh
back at
God,
them?
I'm always honest, and that's where we're either gonna get along or we're not. Every like every season of my life that I've probably grown the most in is come from like brutal honesty, right? It came from the doctor saying you're 5 foot 213, you're obese, and I was like, shut the front door. I'm not obese.
Yeah.
Like,
Obese? Who's obese? Who
I was
said that?
pissed. I left. I stormed out of there. So it's just like everything I've done where I was like, what? Like, how dare you say that to me?
That would be a hard
You
word
know?
to hear.
It was, especially my mom was she was the 320. I grew up with a heavy mom, so I was like, that ain't me. Like, you're crazy. And to be honest, I mean, I was 25 when I heard those words, and I was mad and upset and embarrassed. But then I was like, I can still do my splits. Like, I'm a gymnast. Like, I based everything off of like I can still do a back handspring on the trampoline. Don't call me obese. You know, it was just terrible. I was just like, what? But yeah, brutal, honest truth, and I think that's so hard for people to hear, and yet it's so important.
It's a tough pill to swallow,
and people need it.
Absolutely.
People need it.
Well, if you're not told the truth, I mean, you're going to live in your own constant state of denial.
Constantly.
And it just...
And it's their stories.
Yeah. Tough.
They hear the excuse, right? I mean, and we will validate anything we don't want to do, right? And our brains were wired to keep us in the nice comfort zone. So it's going to, like, every excuse is going to come through your own head. Like, even getting up at 4 a.m, I'm like, I will replay. I'm like, Karissa, you killed it this week. Maybe you should. I'm like, shut up. Like that, the inner dialogue is like getting to me. The excuses come in. And that's what I love about my fiance, right? He's like the same, we're the same mindset. He's like, do you know what that sounds like, Karissa? And I'm like,
sounds like a whiny bee.
No. Yeah. And he's like, count down from 5, because he loves making fun of my tool. Count down from 5 and get your ass out of bed. And I'm like, you're right. And then he's always like, Coach just got coached. Like, yeah.
Does he throw some of your sayings back in your face?
Oh yeah, my kids will do the same thing.
So you get up at 3:30? Is that
About
right?
3:45 now.
Every day?
Yeah, every day.
That's crazy. Do you go to bed
Saturday
at like
and Sunday?
7 then?
Yeah, I'm in bed by 8:30.
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday,
Every day.
3:45.
Well, no. So Saturday and Sunday I sleep into about 6.
Okay. So
That
it's
would
not
feel
every
like
day.
sleeping in.
It would, yeah.
3:45.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
in bed. I'm asleep by 8:30. Like I can't even. I used to meditate at night, and I wouldn't even get through the breath work, like just the 10 cycles of breath. I'm like, boom, I'm out. Yeah, you work hard during the day. You give it all you got. I mean, every day I wake up and I strive to be the best version of me. Like I don't want to say there's no lazy days, because I can now see it, but when I hear myself making an excuse, I become just aware. And I think that's what coaching does. You become aware. You're like, okay, is this an excuse, or is this like really your body telling you to stop and slow down?
Right.
You know, where most people listen to the excuse and kind of feed that side. I'm like, no, it's an excuse. Get up.
Get the hell up.
It's fun to fall asleep to meditation music. We've been doing it for probably 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
You and Annie?
Yeah, and I don't have a problem falling asleep in the first place.
Is it like whales? Or what do you mean?
There's so many
Yeah, we
different
mix it up.
kinds.
A lot of naturey stuff for sure.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I don't know, just like birds chirping maybe.
Yeah.
I don't even make it through like 30 seconds.
No.
And he's like, why do I do this? Because I have her do it on her phone, because otherwise if I do it, I don't have the app where you can time it out. So just keep
So it
playing.
just keeps
And so then she'll have to reach over me to shut it off. So she sets it up. And
Whose
I
idea
never
was
make it
this?
through. Mine, because it's so peaceful. Because when she
You
was,
didn't have any trouble falling asleep anyway.
no, but when she was trying to get pregnant, we were listening to fertility meditation.
Okay,
And
yeah,
it's
I
like,
remember that.
oh, your uterus is thick and growing.
You're like, when you gather listen to birds
Yeah,
chirping?
I was actually like, oh, this gal with the British accent is real soothing.
Yeah.
Sleeping.
We should probably take a break
Yeah.
on fertility meditation.
Right at fertility.
Fertility meditation. Let's take a break. Hey guys, Alex here with the Brother Side Podcast. For those of you who know me and know me well, you may not know that I tend to have an anxious personality. Hard to believe, I know, especially considering my outgoing personality. Normally I just manage this and take it as it comes, but I find that using Able CBD's tincture really helps to manage my anxiousness. I love that the products are organic and all natural, and especially appreciate that they make their products right here in the good old USA in partnership with American farmers. I didn't know that much about CBD before meeting recent ultramarathoner Adam Monkey, who actually swears by Able CBD, but I am so glad I was open-minded enough to give it a try. Oh, and by the way, it does not contain THC. We're grateful that Able CBD agreed to be a brand sponsor, and as a valued listener of the Brother Side, you can use our special code bro15, BRO15 at www.ablecbd.com. That's www.ablecbd.com for a 15% discount at checkout. Check out ablecbd.com. And we're back with the Brother Side Podcast. We have Karissa Williams, 365 Daily Hustle. We were just talking about meditation, fertility meditation. We can get beyond that. But one of the things I wanted to ask you was, you said your clients have the excuse of time. What do you use for accountability measures like a calendar, obviously? Do you give them phone calls? What all do you do to keep them on track?
Keep them on track. So I think coaching in general it's high accountability, right? And so I have calls with my clients every week, like VIP clients get every week, and I have different programs, obviously, that are a little less. But every week after every session, you have an action step, like right? Because we all know what we need to do. I mean, I could ask you right now, what are 5 things that make you healthier today, But it's
Put
action.
the beer down.
Yeah. Drink less. Okay, what's the second one?
What would be the easier one?
Do you have another
Skip
option?
one.
Yeah.
Go to 2.
Yeah, so we all know what we need to do, but it's action. And I always used to joke, because they're like, well, how are you going to keep me accountable? And I'm like, well, that's the beauty of coaching, right? Like, there's something about little 5 foot Karissa that just is super intimidating. No, I'm going to beat you down. No, at the end of the day, like, we create tools, right? Everything we, like session 1, say we're going to really get to your why. I think you have to know your why. When I wanted to lose weight, and I go back to that because it's a common thing. A lot of people want to lose weight and they always lose it a little bit and then they come back and they bounce right back. But I had to create motivation in my life to keep me held accountable to my why. I didn't want to die. I was watching my mom go through cancer, and like her quality of her life was just shit. It was so crappy, and I wanted more for myself, and I wanted more for my kids. I didn't want them to grow up without a mom, and that was the path I was on because of honest truth from the doctors. So, like in my kitchen, I set up a sign that it said something that was just so important to me that I was like, that's more important than a snack. So I help them create like bits of motivation. I call them anchors in your life. If you live your life in a car, I work with a lot of real estate agents, and they're like, oh, I'm in the car all the time and I'm eating crap, and so we set up motivation in their car for them.
This is a call out to all real estate agents.
Motivation in
So
the car.
sometimes
Like
it's a
notes
picture.
or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes
All
it's a picture. Sometimes it's whatever the goal has to match the why. So if I wanted to lose weight, I would never, just like set up something that said just do it or something. It wouldn't be enough for me. So most people have to figure out their why, and then even when they think they found it, I still have to dive deeper because. The first answer is, well, I want to live long for my kids.
And I want to look good in a bathing suit.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah. And
I'm like, but we have to find that. I mean, for the longest time, I wanted to be the hot wife. Like, I was like, I'm the fat wife, and I want to be the hot wife. And I felt embarrassed to say that. Like, I would have never told anyone that 10 years ago. Like, I just want to be the girl at the party that they're like, damn.
Like Stacy's mom?
Yeah.
AKA
Like,
MILF.
man, your mom.
We call that a MILF.
Goals.
Yeah.
But you have the why. So we have to figure out the why, and then we create the anchors, the motivation, okay? And then you have to be committed. And I constantly remind them, I'm like, okay, why didn't you do that? And it's not to make you feel bad. It's so that you can become aware of the excuses. And over time you do this, it kind of builds this mentality of, they'll call their own excuses out. I don't even have to do it for them. They're like, yeah, that was a pile of crap. Yeah, I was like, yeah, it was. You just ate that. Like, why? So let's just figure out why. But it all comes down to the habits.
Power of temptation.
Yeah,
and
distractions. But a lot of people, with going back to the time, it's I'm a time junkie. I schedule everything. I live by, like, from 4 a.m. does that time have something every blocked hour, all the way to even like power down hour. So 7 o'clock, the last thing my phone will bring, and it's like time to power down, right?
Yeah,
and then that's it. That's it. Whatever
I know somebody
I'm
else
doing,
like that. Aren't you schedule hardcore?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot more flexibility in mind than probably you or most success coaches, but I have to check things off.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. I did it.
I'm a big fan of sticky notes too,
Yes.
because then I can throw it away and like physically get it like off my desk. Yeah. But I'm not getting up at 3:45, 4:30.
It's priorities.
4:30 is still
Didn't
early
you
as
just
hell,
say you
though.
wanted to, lean down a little bit?
I do, but
Not
once
that
again,
bad.
put
Yeah,
the
like-
beer down. Yeah, I just, I don't really have a good answer.
It's
other
a
than,
fine balance for you, I think, between fun and what you want to accomplish weight-wise. Like,
Yeah,
you do like to have a drink.
Yeah, you
or
play
seven
hard,
here.
you work hard.
Yeah.
yeah, a drinker.
But I
So,
think you
no, I.
you look good.
Actually, for the last couple of weeks, I have been cutting back on the booze. So I'm trying to do 2 days a week.
And surprisingly,
Not that I was every day, but
It's-
I just like a Saturday and Friday.
Small changes, right, equal
Yeah.
big results.
Right.
So anyone who would be listening would be like, what's one thing? And most of the time it's water, like more water in my
Yeah.
life. But one less cup of coffee. Like one thing, just like a domino, right? Just
Right.
one thing, 1% every day. That's where my business was 365, like 1% every day. Just keep working hard. Yeah. Time
And
management.
Alex has also gotten
Time management.
way more boring in the last couple of weeks, I've noticed. Like,
Yeah.
Now that
Loser.
he's taken 2 days off
yeah,
of
I'm like,
drinking.
man, for some reason, Alex is so less fun than he used to be.
One of the you're a dick. One of the tricks I learned was from Jerry Seinfeld. So if you have a calendar on your fridge, you mark things off so you can visually see it. So working out for me, last year I worked out 76% of the year. I was trying to do 70,
Okay.
and this year is 80, and I should be probably like 82 or 83, but I mark a little dot on my calendar, and so I see it, take a picture of it, because otherwise I have no idea where I'm at, right?
Right.
It comes back to accountability.
Yeah. And that's the progress reports. It's constant. And I find that it's women and females or women and males. It's like I want to see the list. I want to see that I've accomplished that, and instead of just like busy work. So it's like, well, what did you do today, and what
Right.
did you do towards that goal? And it's huge. Just every day you have an action step. That's what I do every day.
I think one of the hardest part is meal prepping. I just can't get on board
I'm a
with
ninja.
that.
You're
Yeah,
a
you
meal-
do that every Sunday?
Yeah.
Is that-
Are you a meal prepper
Yeah.
big time?
Yeah. Even now I work from home, I still meal prep.
Really?
It started because I was like, I have to go to work. And at the tuck shop, when you start in your small business, I'm like, I was there from 9 to 8 p.m. I wasn't leaving. No one could relieve me. And so I was like, I had to do that. And I remember my first meal plan, and it was just so overwhelming, and it was exhausting. And I told myself all these excuses like, well, I don't like eating leftovers. I don't want to heat up meat. Like all these things that I created
Wow, that
these
would be hard.
stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you create these stories to match the lifestyle, right? Like I fell in love with eating 3 or 4 portions at a time. That was like my safety net, is how I coped with a lot of things. So you created the excuses and the stories so that it justified it. It was okay. Like, well, you don't eat leftovers, so you do need to eat more now. And so all these things that you have to slowly break. But oh my God, yeah, I love helping people. I'm like, I'm about to save you money and time. Remember all those things that you said you didn't have enough of?
Right,
I'm about to show you.
Yeah.
And then it's so great. It's free. And I'm like, I don't have to make a single decision until like dinner time. And even that's planned. Like,
Yeah.
Are you a good cook?
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to raise 3, siblings, so I had to step up and learn how to cook.
You gave me a hard look.
Oh,
I think Alex would struggle in that arena.
Yeah, I don't like cooking. There's no excuse. I just don't like to do it, and I don't like grocery shopping. So luckily, my wife does the grocery shopping. She does most of the cooking, but we don't meal prep. And I'm okay with leftovers. I'm like, if we could just do casseroles or stuff in a crock pot, I'll eat it for 3 or 4 days. I don't care.
see, that's meal prep.
But someone has to do it.
Right.
Yes.
It's that part.
But what
the doing.
stops someone from doing it?
It's me.
Excuses.
Right?
It takes like an hour. I can make 50 meals in about an hour and 10 minutes.
50 meals.
Five
Come
zero.
on.
Are you just
Back when I used to prep for my eggs.
Are you just cooking sheet pans of chicken?
Yeah,
and then,
No,
and
God,
rice?
that's boring.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't
Brown
keep
rice
that
and
up.
chicken.
and rice.
No, you can't keep that up for 9 years. I mean, you really can't. You got to start getting. I ate boiled eggs every day for about a year when I was like, I don't want to heat eggs. Nobody wants to heat up eggs, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's gross.
Heat up eggs are gross.
Yeah, that's gross. Well, eventually you learn to love that, and I'm like, oh, now I can't even have eggs. But
Unless it's like breakfast taco.
yeah,
like
burritos.
mix.
Yeah, you gotta
that's
get
different.
clever.
Yeah.
Gotta get clever. So big thing with meal prep is like tips would be Order your groceries online, which COVID, thank you. We were all used to that now, right? Like, hello, that kind of forced us into that. Make the plan. So I literally broke it down. Everyone tries to do it all in one day, right? I got to make the plan. I'm going to go grocery store and I'm going to try and prep. And that's exhausting. So Thursday I make the plan. Friday I put in my shopping list. Saturday I pick it up after the gym. Sunday I prep. I've created this system. Everything
it's all
is
about
systems.
Yeah.
Habits and
All
systems.
systems.
Routines.
It is.
Follow them. Yeah.
I need to just exert the energy to look up meals. Mm-hmm. And then if I had, 10 that I just knew how to do,
Yes.
then
Sounds like you need to schedule that.
Sounds like we need.
Sounds like
we need a coach.
Schedule it into your day. Today at 10:30, I'm going to look up a recipe. I don't need to. Erin does.
Yeah. She does it for both of you?
Yeah,
Well,
she makes our food.
But like for the whole week, she'll do it on Sunday?
Yes. Well, she doesn't meal prep Sundays, but she'll schedule the meals.
Yeah.
So like whatever day we shop, she schedules the meals, and then she has an app that says I have this on hand, and then boom, it'll give you a recipe for something. But she's good enough of a cook to make it.
So is this more about me or my wife? Because
well,
no, it's a group to start. I think you should do it together.
Whoever's willing to do it, right? Like right now, I'd say you have the free time to do it. Like Annie's working full-time job where.
We're going there, huh?
Yeah, I think we have to.
I think we should.
I think it's time to get past all your excuses.
Wow.
I wasn't going to.
The
you
truth is being told right now.
You didn't realize this is all about you today.
Right. My God.
No, well, for 5 years, I hate doing dishes, so I will prep all day long.
See, I like dishes.
You do the dishes.
I like dishes.
I'm a dish guy also.
Yeah,
I'll do dishes all day.
Yeah. So I'll just stack them there nice and neat, and you come in. I think it's a team effort. Even now, my fiance, like we meal prep together, and he'll sometimes slow me down because he's, slapping me on the ass and doing stuff like that. I'm like, babe, we are trying to meal prep in under an hour.
This is serious business.
Don't you want to get to the gym today?
Babe, did you need a back rub?
Yes. I'm like, go away.
No, I'm trying to cook.
You look so good cutting that chicken.
Trust me. The struggle is real.
It's a guy thing.
Yeah,
I
it
know.
is.
So, how are your clients during COVID?
What do you mean?
Just like, I guess that was kind of broad. Well, obviously everything's changed. Mm-hmm. Has there been more excuses during COVID? Have more people reached out because of COVID? Because everyone's kind of lost.
Yeah. So as like work-life balance coach, it's all about now I'm at home working. Like I used to go to work to get away from the kids. I can't even imagine what these young moms that are also trying to teach. Like that's a struggle and that's real. But we create a lot of boundaries and expectations. You have to kind of lower the bar. What used to work a year ago is not going to work today.
Right.
I mean that's just the honest truth. I would say clientele is up. I see a lot of negative mindsets, right? And it's all on how we talk to ourselves and the expectations we put on ourselves. We feel really guilty if we can't get it all done. So a lot of clients have kind of stepped up and they're like, I need help, right? I need to either figure out a system. I've seen a lot of women, they're like, okay, we're now working from home and we kind of like this gig. So now what's it look like to start a business? So I'm seeing a lot of females kind of up and coming, like, I kind of want to do something for myself. I'm like, go for it.
Go get it.
Boss up. Let's do it.
Is that your hashtag always? Boss up.
Boss up.
Boss up, babes.
Boss up, baby.
With the come on.
Boss up.
Yeah.
Boss up, baby.
Yeah.
Boss
and
up.
it's guys and girls. Everyone can boss up.
Boss up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say for my wife, she's felt that way about like not being a good enough mom. Mm-hmm. She has said that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm failing. Like
Yeah.
I'm not putting enough time into my family. Just. There would be times where she just kind of feels really down on herself like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
wow, that surprises me.
it's surprising coming from her because she's very
she's
empowering.
Bossed up.
She's bossed up pretty good too. And
we're human, right? Like I like to think
that doesn't mean that we all don't
not,
go through our roles and stuff.
No.
What do you think is one of the bigger issues that women struggle with? Like, for me, just looking at using my wife as an example, I feel like sometimes we all
tread lightly here.
I know we all get into traps, but I feel like women tend to more often is like comparing ourselves to others.
Yeah,
like that constant comparison, and I think a lot of that is like this materialistic, world that we live in. Mm-hmm. Women find themselves comparing themselves to celebrities or all 100%. These things.
Instagram.
Yeah,
It's killing
Instagram.
people.
She's just, scrolling on Instagram just like anybody. And do you feel like that's an issue?
Huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. I think women, we love to spread ourselves too thin. We say yes, we want to please, right? That's our nurturing side. So we say yes to everything. They don't, all of them seems like,
Well, not everything. But
Try lightly.
Wait, hold on.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
We'll edit that
But
out.
they all struggle with like the one thing of taking care of themselves, right?
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. They're like, oh, I was like, when's the last time you did anything for yourself? They're like, well, I got a massage. I'm like, that's not self-care. Like in a sense, like you can't even, when you go lay down, you're probably still thinking of all the thousands of things you're trying to do, like today, I'm like, when's the last time you even completely unplugged from that? Like, and so I try and teach a lot of just self-care. Like you cannot take care of your kids, your hubby, your business, your career, any of that, if you don't take care of yourself, like mentally and physically. So self-care comes first, and that was probably a key to my success, is realizing that it's not selfish to make myself better, because everyone then gets the best version of me. So I would say that's a big number one struggle that a lot of women face, is they're not taking care of themselves.
Is there a day of the week that you just check out completely?
Not really, because when we go back to our schedule, I know you said it seems like insane, right?
Yeah.
And when I show clients that, they're like, oh my God, everything is time blocked and color coded. But it too is a system, but it's like a self-care sandwich. So morning, right? Like it's like a good club, right?
Yeah.
And your bread is your self-care. So in the morning, it's like the workout. That's physical self, like, right? But then I get in my spiritual hour, my power hour. Like that's meditating, that's visualization. That's like thinking about big stages that I want to be on, so that when I get there, I'm mentally prepared. So I do all of that before I even start coaching. Like I set my intention for the day. Midday, I will get up, do some burpees. I'll just move my body somehow. I eat clean. I do
Burpees.
not.
You just go into burpee mode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
Five
all right.
burpees.
100 burpees as fast as I can go.
Yeah, 100 burpees.
5,
Even
4,
just
3.
5. Yeah, no excuses, Karissa. But just getting up, midday walk. I try not to eat in the computer. Like that was something that I used to do. Is like, I'll eat while I work, right? I'm just double productive. No, like my body is still under stress than if it's under work, if it's trying to work. So just completely being outside and being with nature. And then at night, it's like unplug, right? So when Will gets off, and if he's home or I'm home, done work. Like I forget. I'm like, oh my God, I'm supposed to do Facebook Live tonight. Why do I forget these things when I'm around you? And so we joke about that. But there's never a day probably the hustle doesn't stop, but I schedule the flow in with the hustle.
Gotcha.
So that leads me to, how are you always on? Like, how are you always bringing the energy? Because I feel like, again, I'm just using my wife left and right here, but she one of her, like, not a complaint, but she talks about, like, being on all the time's exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, oh, I'm just spent.
Sick of it. Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine that's, like, 24/7. I mean, not 24/7, but what
Karissa's
you're
going to
always.
pass out after this
Yeah,
episode.
just like constantly having to bring it all the time would be exhausting.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's, well, in my industry, it is. Even in the marketing, right? Like you go and you people please all day long. Especially, so Collision, every agent has a different style of Karissa they want. Like some I would be like, oh, I brought the healthy stuff. Some wanted the donuts. This mentality of always on, right? Leads to burnout.
Right.
And you can only go that far so long. So when people are like, your energy is so insane, like how do you keep it up? I mean, even at 8 at night, I'll be like, oh my God, I just got a great idea. And I try not to do it, because then that's about the one night I can't sleep, where I'm like, oh, these business
you
ideas.
wound yourself
Yeah, I'm like
up.
wound
Yeah.
up. I'm like, don't talk to me about that. That's really cool. Check in tomorrow. But the energy's always high. I think it's because I take care of myself. Like I literally every day.
Comes back to self-care.
Self-care. Yep, move my body. Like my 5 habits that are just like keep me on point would be like reading, workouts, clean eating, meditation. Like these are just non-negotiables. They're not, because I need my A game. I cannot afford to go, if someone booked me on a stage in front of 100,000 people, I can't afford to be on like a 50% battery. Like charge me, like every day I'm like, charge me up. I need my sleep. I do not mess with sleep. Always in bed by 8:30. And people, and with all the jokes that come with it, they're like, oh, Karissa's got to go.
Yeah.
Better not book a dinner reservation too late. But they'll see me. They're just like, I'm like,
Fade.
Can you not sleep at dinner, please? Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry, self-care. I'm getting it in.
I have slept at dinner before.
Yes, you have.
In Las Vegas, we were at one of these Dine in the dark?
It was called like a blackout restaurant. Oh. Completely pitch black. Like you can't see your hand in front of your face. It's
super weird.
Like the waiters are wearing night vision goggles. Like,
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it was really interesting, but we've been drinking, full disclosure, and we're sitting there talking, and Alex kind of been quiet for a little bit. And his wife, Alex, wake up! Yeah. And he had fallen asleep while we were sitting there. And obviously, we can't see that he's sleeping, but we just noticed he was really quiet. But it was a really cool restaurant. It was vegan too. So obviously, you can't like see anything that you're eating. Like the waiter's describing like where your silverware is. You're moving your hands like super slow so that you don't spill your drinks. Yeah.
Wow.
But he goes, honestly, people don't really spill anything that often because everyone's moving so slow. Their senses are so heightened. Yeah. But
that'd be fun.
It was an experience. I swore I was eating a meatball at one point, but it was vegan.
Those dang vegans.
And everything was super good.
They
do. It was like 7-course meal. Like it was super good food, but it was also expensive. Yeah. It was a one-time thing.
Once in a lifetime.
Those experiences.
Yeah.
Tell us about your speaking arrangements. So you're a big speaker.
I'm trying to level up this year, speaking. So
corporate stuff.
Corporate, anything from small workshops to educational series, all the way up to, I want to be speaking on stages full of hundreds of thousands of people.
That's,
female version of Tony Robbins.
Zero fear of public speaking.
No. Man. In fact, the bigger the audience, the easier it is.
Like your adrenaline, you're just up for it?
Yeah, my first time with 800 on a stage was about 3 years ago maybe already. It was at a health coaching conference. And I had the job of crowd motivator. I'm like, this is awesome. So every 30
for you.
Yes. Every 40 minutes you come on stage, you pump everybody up. And I remember like she gave me, like I was sitting there and behind the stage you can see the screen counting down. And you're like, okay, 30 seconds. 25. I'm like, breathe, deep breaths. I'm like, here we go. You're not gonna fall. Like, this moves. You've been doing this forever. You just get so nervous at first. But the minute she gave me that mic and I ran up on stage, I was like, and this is home, right? I think I used to want to be an actor when I was younger, so I've always been looking for the stage for like, I want to be a star. But yeah, I want to share my stories. I want to teach people. I want to, I feel like when I speak, I want to leave them with something and more than just a big motivational talk. Like I want you to walk away with a plan of your own. And I think that's the perfect coach and speaker and motivator in me. That's like, yeah, we could all listen to Tony Robbins or, Mel Robbins and get like, I'm hyped up.
Right.
And then you're like, now what? Well, cool.
Now what do I do?
Yeah, like now what? What am I going to do? Until tomorrow's video, I guess I'll just go back to my normal life. So I want to always leave like, here's my 2-step process to like get you from here to here today, Like I don't care what it is. I want to leave them with something. So I love doing anywhere from literally like educational series on like let's creating new habits in the workplace, all the way up to give me that mic and one of these days I'm like, I won't even need the mic because it'll be in the air. And
right.
I want to say that, but that's,
So what's the biggest crowd you've done so far?
It was those health coaching ones.
Okay.
800 or 900 coaches, in the room. And I was just like, and women are the worst because I'm like, they're all going to judge me.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what she's talking
800
about.
Women. Yeah, so it was just so fun. And I can't even say that because I speak all the time and you never know. This show right now is going to reach some and then they're going to share. And so I can't even tell you how big the audience is probably really get.
Our audience is quite large.
Yeah, yes. Tens of people listen.
Yeah, tens. Yeah. So, tens of thousands.
Yeah, but those 10 have 10 and those 10,
we'll get there.
Effect.
Yeah.
It wasn't overnight for Rogan, but we'll get there.
No, it was not overnight for Rogan. How long has he been doing podcasts? 10 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's an OG. I think he was like in the first 100 podcasts out there.
That was like cassette tape.
Seriously? Yeah. I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah. And now he signed a $100 million contract.
See?
Yeah.
10 years is that how long we got to do this?
Hey, I got time.
1%, guys, every day. And 10 years from now, you'll be doing it.
I don't know if we can
convince
enough guests to be on here for that long. That's going to be the real challenge.
Right. Oh, when we get old Warren on here. No. Yeah. So what are your future goals then? So speaking, obviously, as far as coaching, is it to have coaches
write another book?
You? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need to talk about your book. Boss Up, babe?
Yeah, Women Who Boss Up. It's actually a collaborative book from women all across the world. You know, China, Australia. We're just kind of women who have paved the way. In this book, we talk about our struggles. We talk about how we got through them, and we're all different walks of life. So some are coaches, some are doctors. So that was an amazing journey. Obviously, the last 6 months, the hustle's been on for that book. Get the books in hopefully next week. With COVID, everything's just been pushed so far back.
Is that an excuse?
It's not, actually.
gosh.
Ask my publicist, because I'm probably her most annoying author. Like, when are we going to do that? I want my book. I'm excited because I'm supposed to get these books now, and I just signed with another book, so I'll be featured in an expert profiles book. So I'm like, as long as I get the first book before the second book, that'd be great. So books, obviously, I want to write lots of books, and I just goes back to being told that I wasn't enough, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of like the middle finger, like, oh, I wasn't smart enough to do anything. Here I
Look at me now.
What do you know, Greta? No, just
who's obese now, Doc?
Who's teaching? It's just, I had to swallow a hard pill, because I did go in the next day, because I stormed out of there. I was pretty rude. And I went in the next day when I had like that aha moment, and I was like, I'm sorry, I was rude.
Really?
I did. And I was like, I don't know if you remember me. She's like, oh, I remember.
Oh,
you.
yeah.
And she gave me that.
I remember.
I was like, well, I'm sorry. I was like, I was just hurt. And it was hard, but I was like, I needed that, you know? So.
That was big of you. Most people would not do that.
No.
You must have been really mean to her.
I'm as Puerto Rican as I am, I'm not rude, you know? And I just felt like I was like, that was.
Not me.
I stormed out of there, and I was like, go screw yourself. You know? Right. I was like, and then I cried the whole way down the steps from the doctor's office. Like, this is terrible. Had a whole yelling match in the car with myself, you know, just like the whole shebang. I let it all go, but I had to. I just felt like I was like, she just didn't deserve that. Like, she's just telling me the truth.
Yeah.
She's telling me how it is, and I don't like how it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a night to marinate on your emotions.
It did,
you know?
yeah. I needed it.
And like come to like, did I just do that?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
and I needed to hear that? You
Yeah.
know? Like, why? And then I was like, why didn't my husband tell me that? Like, why didn't he tell me my weight was getting out of control?
From a husband's perspective, that's not the easiest conversation to have.
I know.
Honey, there's this thing I need to talk to you about.
There's this whole weight thing.
Gotta have
You're
a
getting
code.
large.
It's a code. You gotta have a code.
The code is stop eating Cheeto Puffs.
When you
But they're
notice
just
you
so
start
good.
replacing the pantry with fruit, then that's your sign.
Right.
Cheeto Puffs are just so good.
Honey, where's the Oreos?
You know a thing or two about Cheeto Puffs.
Oh, they're good. So we got about a minute left here. Let's stay off.
Stay off of Cheeto Puffs.
We got a minute
He
left.
doesn't like this.
Yeah, breeze right over that.
What is your advice to people trying to better themselves right now?
Gosh, that's a loaded question for a 1 minute.
Many.
Well, we can go over a minute.
You know, follow your heart. It's probably the biggest key to my success. If something feels right, do it. I've never made a decision that I wasn't like, that was really crappy, because I've even learned from all those mistakes. So following your heart and playing big, and letting go of people's opinions and beliefs. Like, it doesn't matter. I can say I'm going to go do something, and it really doesn't matter if you think I can or not, as long as I believe so. So, it's a tough one, because I feel like that's like I could really give you probably top 10 tips on what to do to be your best self, but 1% probably go back to that.
1% every day.
Every day.
That's inspiring. I believe that to be true as well. And for those of you listening, 1% every day. Thanks, Karissa, for coming on today.
Thanks for coming on.
It's so
It was
much
fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Another episode of the Brother Side Podcast. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.